Testing, testing. Pastor James Atterbury of Amargosa Christian Fellowship. Let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we approach you with humility to request your favor upon this meeting, Town Board of Amargosa Valley. We thank you for the gift of life and for the precious time we have as a gift from you. We thank you for giving us the freedom to assemble here to speak. We pray that you would grant us wisdom to govern well in a world that needs your grace. Open our eyes to the needs that are all around us, and give us the guidance to know how to best help others. Give us the confidence we need to do what is right, even when it is costly. Give us the strength and boldness we need to make decisions that are righteous, even though they might not be popular. Give us the courage we need to change the things which need to be changed, and the result be carried out. Give us the ability to work together despite our disagreements. We ask that you would grant our town peace and safety, and that you would empower its leaders to create an environment where its people, businesses, and churches can thrive. May our town board have wisdom in using the money of this town, and may they spend it on what is most important for the good of the most people. We ask that you would protect our volunteer firefighters as they respond to emergencies and help people in need. Please watch over the deputies of the Nye County Sheriff's Office as they protect us from those who do evil. And it is in the name of Jesus Christ and through the power of the Holy Spirit that we ask for all these things. Amen.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. I have no changes. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to pull 5, 6, and 7. We have no legal issues to discuss. Sorry about that. Okay. General public comment up to a 3-minute time limit per person. Action will not be taken on matters considered during this period until specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Please state and spell your last name. Nobody's up for public comment.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Is that bad?
Is that okay? I'm earthly challenged, so. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Samantha Ford. It is spelled Samantha, Ford, F-O-R-D. I work alongside Michelle Rook. I represent Nevada Health Centers. We run and operate the medical clinic just a few hundred feet from this building, and I wanted to come in and introduce myself to members of this committee and the town. I wanted to inform everyone that we are rapidly working on establishing consistent provider coverage over our active clinic. Today we are open 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, and 5 hours on Fridays. We offer in-person medical services as well as telehealth services, vaccinations for children and adults, as well as standard primary care. Michelle has been with our organization for quite some time, over 25 years, so we really value her. And so I would like to have the opportunity to just let folks know that Nevada Health Centers is focused and dedicated to rural health care. We've recently opened and established a location in Pahrump Valley. And so I just, wanted to introduce myself. I have some cards available and hope that someday in the near future we can get on the agenda to provide some additional information.
Okay, thank you, Samantha. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you all.
Hi, Sheriff Joe Hill, MCGILL. I just wanted to make a couple of points to you. Finally, after a long, difficult wait, we currently have 3 deputies assigned to the Beatty Amargosa area. All 3
My name is Thomas Baker, Thomas, Thomas, Baker, Baker. I am a member on the planning committee here. I would like to address a few things that the sheriff has discussed. For one, I am a resident here in this town, and I do not feel protected by your sheriff's department. There has been certain injustices that were committed against me and my wife. Unfortunately, my wife has passed away now. And the resident deputies here, last Monday I made a formal complaint against Joshua Weaver. Because Joshua Weaver came by my property in his own private vehicle in plain clothes and threatened to shoot me and my wife because I shined a spotlight on his car sitting at the stop sign of my property. Okay, I made a formal complaint last week about this. Well, you need to talk to your lieutenant. Okay. Another thing is, before that incident of Joshua Weaver coming by my house in his own private car, previously, a week and a half before that, I had and caught a man in my shop smoking meth, and he said that Ed Goodhart offered him money to kill me, and he had killed somebody for him. Now, Michael Tulipak, which I know no longer works for your department, was the arriving officer when I called him needing assistance because I had a person on my property that says he was hired to kill me. Tulipak came by, did not know what to do. He asked me to send the illegal Mexican down to his vehicle. And he yelled up at me that, what do you want me to do, Tom? Do you want me to 86 you?
Tom, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Is there any more public comment? Seeing none, hearing none, I close public comment. Move on to reports. Town office report. Mike?
We've got vouchers for presentation. The total for the vendors, checks, recurring, and steady cash come out to a total of $13,998.51, which is still under our budget projections. And so, unless anybody has any questions about any of the charges, we are accessing those other accounts every time we can. So we keep the 26101 account. We keep that as strong as we can. That's how we got that thing over $1 million total for the last couple of years. So, does anybody have any questions about any of those charges that are on there?
Board, does anybody have any questions?
What is our budget projection every month?
Well, if you look at the regular charges, about 20 cents a month. About what it takes plus HR costs. So that totals to 240, and HR costs runs into right about 375 or so. Is about what the total is. So, and I'll do the next part later on. So I need a motion. I'll make a motion to pay the vouchers as presented.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. If there's no other comment, I'm going to call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So, as an update, our candidate budget has been filed. We don't have the approval back yet. We should have that soon. And then we will have our final budget presentation at 6 p.m. in May before the regular meeting. And again, just real base numbers. It was pretty tight like it was this last year. We have revenue shade over 5, expenses are going to be positive, and some HR costs came down, so we'll keep that going again this year. Otherwise, that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Fire department report? Mrs. Walther?
If you want me to spell the full Mary's name, it's really long. We hyphenated. Jessica Cattermas Wallflower, Kaprmas WALTHOUR. There you go. I had to think about that. Your fire department clerk. This month, for our run counts, we had 6 EMS calls, 3 good intent calls, 1 fire call for a total of 10. Like I state every month, the good intent calls are we're dispatching, canceled en route. It's a public service kind of thing, you know, a ground level call, we're just helping somebody out, that kind of a service kind of thing. Equipment, we have some stuff to talk about this time. Squad 41 is currently out of service. That's our big red truck that we got from Front Valley Fire and Rescue. It's got a critical power failure happening somewhere inside of it that's causing the battery to die, and it's just not safe to drive at the moment. Command 41 is drivable, but also awaiting repair. We're having issues with the malfunctioning starter. It just sticks. All it is a quick little replacement. Otherwise, all of our other equipment is fully operational and ready for service. Training this month, it's a long one, I'm sorry. I have a lot to say this month. This month included a special training with Valley Electric. We went over power lines, transformers, and breaker boxes. We also went over the way the power down at the dairy differentiates because it's industrial power versus residential power. We did a lot that really helped enhance our safety measures and awareness about electrical hazards when fighting fires. In addition, we did 2 joint training sessions this month in Beatty. Members participated in a live burning exercise where they actually got to attack the interior of a fire with full SCBAs and the whole thing, providing a very valuable hands-on experience. Even though we don't fight from the interior, we only fight from the exterior for our department. Being able to learn how to fight from the interior is very valuable for exterior firefighting. In Tonopah, we also went up to Tonopah and did trainings with a Stokes basket, which is a very fun piece of equipment. It's very handy for trauma and doom-related calls to get patients out more safely. It was super cool, kind of amazing to watch. The videos that I got sent were super awesome. And that's all I have for training. For personnel, we currently have 13 active volunteers with 2 volunteers that are in ride-along status. We got 2 more new recruits, guys. We're getting up there in numbers. So we're continuing working on their orientation, field exposure, just trying to see if it's a fit, because sometimes this just isn't a fit for the volunteers, and we want to maintain that safety. That's pretty much all I got.
We now have 2 qualified firefighter ones, or very close to it.
Very, very close. Jennifer completed her firefighter 1 class. Congratulations, she top of her class. She did real good. All we have to do is wait. She just is waiting on, she has to do some hazmat operations training, and then she has to take her test. And then once she takes that, we'll be up to 3 fully certified volunteer firefighters. Jonathan, one of our new recruits, his reciprocity just got approved by the state fire marshal. So we now have 2 firefighter 2s, which is fantastic. As well as our 2 volunteers in ride-along status. One of them is a returning member who just got done with some obligations and is able to come back. And one of them is young, is new. They're 19. They're fresh. And also there will be, I forgot this, it's new information. There will be an EMT class coming up in Beatty. If anybody is interested in volunteering and getting out there and learning how to be an EMT, it's very valuable. It's completely provided for by the department of the county. It's no out-of-pocket cost besides your travel. Okay? And even that we can help with something. All right?
Thank you. And out there, Jennifer Lindsay's also an EMT now.
Yes, she is dually certified. Once she passes her test, she'll be another dual certified along with Jamie.
Terrific. Thank you. You guys are doing great.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay. I don't know what's wrong with this all of a sudden. Okay. Tourism and economic development. Mike?
Okay, as an update on the Amargosa Days, which starts tomorrow, we have 35 vendors, a number of sponsors. way to cover our total cost. So we're going to be able to present Amargosa Days within just a couple $1,000 this year. So it's going to turn out pretty good. So please come out. Brenda recommended the mud bog. We have a lot of interest in that. We've got the space cleared out. It's full of water. And Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and we've heard that people aren't showing up because of the cost. There is no cost. We are fronting the cost of everything between the sponsorships and the tourism and economic development fund, the rides for the kids and stuff. You got to buy your own beer and whatever you want to do with that. But all the rides and stuff, there's no charge for any of that. So please tell your friends and stuff.
Thank you, Mike. Senior Center report, Dave.
Dave Wall with the Senior Center report. This is our March report, the financials for March were everything balanced. There was both expenses and income were pretty along the same lines. We've been very fortunate for about the last 3 or 4 months. That's been the case, even with the cost of food and all the other stuff going up. We've had a lot of participation, so we've come in pretty close. We're up to about average about 420 meals served every month. As far as where we stand on grants, it's going to be kind of a can of worms, as everybody has probably heard. We're not really sure what USDA is going to be able to provide. So far, they've told us that for our next coming year, which starts in July, that our grants will be reduced, our grant amounts will be reduced. One good thing is that our membership and the people that have come and used the Senior Center is up. So there's going to be a wash there. We're not sure how that's all going to pan out. We do get an INSEP grant every year about this time for about $2,200. This year we got $1,000. So there is some, financial stuff going on with USDA, of course, and the government. So kind of see how that goes with the amount of grants coming in and how it all works out. It's been suggested, I think if you listen to the news, that people need to look within the community to help fund what goes on in your community. I want to give a shout out to the Lost. Kay Reed sent me a donation for $750, and we really appreciate them stepping up and helping us in that respect. So thanks to Kay and all the folks that Lost. And like I said, they're encouraging more community support. I don't know how much more we can get, but we need to look at these developers that are coming in and the people who want to do work here in the valley to help the people that are here in the valley. And I can't stress that enough to the people that come and talk to you guys on the board. It's not a matter of, we'll buy you Christmas dinner. This is a long-term obligation that all these people are doing in our valley, and a long-term obligation for us to take care of our valley. So those people need to be aware of that. I know Mike and Carolyn, I've been in meetings with you guys, and you make that really clear. But anytime you guys, in the audience, talk to people that are involved in some of this stuff, make sure that the people you talk to understand that everything that goes on from now on, all the stuff that you see, is long-term. It's not going to go away after 6 months. It's going to be here forever, as far as people sitting here. So anyway, make sure that you bring that up to them. Commodities, we had 105 people this month, or in March, in April actually, because we were a week early. But we had 105 people in April. What's really interesting is we've got a computer program that tracks all the people that come in. We just scan a card. We issue 45 additional cards this month, which is really unusual because, we know the 100 people that usually come, and we've got 45 more that didn't have a card. So, those numbers could substantially grow within the next few months. The LDS Church has been really supportive of our organization. In fact, us and Beatty, we were getting quarterly commodity distributions. They cut that back to twice a year. Fortunately, a lot of the stuff that they've done is we can use throughout the month and just not on commodity day. Yeah, they bring us, some cases and stuff, but there's a lot of paper products, there's a lot of stuff for kids. They brought really a whole array of stuff about 2 weeks ago that if anybody needs anything, please send them anytime the senior center's open. All that pantry stuff is available to anybody that needs it. So we're gonna keep, and they did an extra food drive. Actually, it was outside of the normal commodity distribution. So we've got quite a bit of stuff in our pantry that we've already been, giving out to a number of people actually. 3 Square, they work under contract for USDA. And it's a truck driver talking because he knows more probably than the people in the office. But all the freezers and coolers are empty. And so the stuff we actually used to get from USDA, frozen products, fresh products, were almost non-existent. We had like 2 or 3 things, this last time. Everything else was purchased, but they seem to have a problem. They've got money, but can't get things purchased. So anyway, we were able to really have a good distribution. We had a lot of good stuff for people, and we'll be able to do that again this coming month. But it's kind of a question mark right now. Nobody knows how it's all going to end up. So we'll kind of keep an eye out and see what we can do and make sure that the people most in need really get the support that we can give them. Our thrift store, we've got a lot of donations. This last week, another household actually said, hey, take all this stuff. We're moving. We don't want any of it. Take what you can sell. So please let everybody know we've really cleaned out a lot of stuff. Stuff that was, maybe there for way too long. And we've, rotated a lot of stuff out. We've got a lot of new stuff in. There's yard stuff. There's just all kinds of stuff. So make sure everybody knows that there's new inventory up there, and our commodity building is full. So we're going to have to kind of figure out how to do that come commodity day. And our thrift store does provide us with about $1,200 to $1,300 every month from their proceeds to help fund the senior center. So that's working within the community, the people within the community working to help support the senior center. Amargosa Days, hey, we're going to be running the raffle like we did. We got over 30 items. We're going to have a Chinese raffle, a couple of mountain bikes, plus a whole lot of other neat stuff. And plus we're going to be running the food shack. We've got some, I'd say hot dogs, but I think Carolyn bought tube steaks. So we're going to have all kinds of good snacks and grilled stuff at a reasonable cost for everybody that wants to come and have lunch over there. So we'll be open Saturday afternoon or Friday afternoon and all day Saturday. So I think that's it. Any other questions, comments? Anybody got anything?
You requested quarter-pound hot dogs and third-pound hamburgers, so you got it.
Yeah, you definitely fulfilled this obligation. We just got to find some buttons we can put them on. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to number 9. For possible action, discussion, and deliberation, motion to approve, amend, or approve or deny the minutes for the board meeting March 27, 2025. Can I get a motion?
I make the motion to approve minutes as presented.
Okay, call for the vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, moving to number 10, for possible action, discussion, and deliberation. Motion to approve, amend, or approve and deny motion for the Nye County Sheriff's Office regarding fiscal year 2025 public safety sales and use tax. That's the PSSD, plan for the Amargosa Valley town. Town of Amargosa Valley. Sorry. Yep.
Thank you, Sheriff Joe McGill. This is our request for expenditures from the public safety sales tax. For those of you that may not know what that is a 0.5% of all sales tax goes into a public safety fund, which is split 50-50 between police and fire. for the Amargosa Valley is $82,242.18. That is based on the population of being 3.21% of the 9-county population. Your current balance being carried over is $408,992.18. The items that we are requesting for the expenditure are recurring costs, which means maintenance fees, annual payments from contracts, things like that. So to begin, the first item is our lens lock. That is our body cams and our vehicle camera system. That was approved in fiscal year 2023 spending plan. The annual cost for year 3 of the 5-year contract, the Amargosa Valley portion, is $10,668. The next item is the Cradle Point, which is the modem that runs our in-car computer systems. That was approved in the fiscal year 2017 spending plan, and the annual cost for this is $85 for the Amargosa portion. Verizon is the cell phone service that we use to operate the computers and our body cams. That was approved in fiscal year 2017, and for this year, the estimated cost is $1,724 for the Amargosa portion. The initial body cams and vehicle cams was approved in fiscal year 23. This year's cost for the Amargosa portion is $1,838. ECR is the fingerprint machines that we use in the front office in Pahrump and Tonopah. And that was approved in the fiscal year 2017 spending plan. This year's cost is going to be $52 for that. And CPI Guardian, which is the big vacuum sealer machine that we put inmates' personal property clothing into so that it doesn't permeate throughout our jail. That was approved in the fiscal year 21 spending plan, and this year's cost is going to be $85. The total is $14,452, and we have no projected new expenditures at this point. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for board member comments.
Yeah, so when I got that, I was able to receive your numbers prior to submitting our tentative budget, so I made sure that was allocated out of the budget for that. The numbers you just read don't match what I've got on the sheet, but we did allocate plenty, and we do not, when it comes to the PSST funds for the sheriff's office, we do not approve each individual item. We just allocate X number of dollars to come out of that account for the year. However they spend it, you know, it is up to them. So
Are you looking at the page that says amended or 25 or 26?
I don't have
25.
25?
Not amended, so.
Okay, that's
I think what it is total cost, and you're doing the breakdown for Amargosa. Is that what I'm?
no. This is the Amargosa cost. I have 2 items here.
Okay.
One is for a amendment to the fiscal year 25, and on the top it says fiscal year 25 PSST spending plan in Amargosa.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that.
You don't have that.
We don't have the amendment, but the money is allocated. I allocated plenty of money to cover that.
Okay, so just let me make sure that you understand the amendment. Because of our body cams and our vehicle cameras, there was an increased cost for our Verizon service. And that cost, which is going back to fiscal year 25, that amended cost is $1,657.
Okay, we've got that under new costs.
So that's why the numbers weren't matching what I was giving you. Somehow you didn't get the backup material for the 26 plan.
There's plenty in there, because if we don't allocate it, we can't spend it. So I make sure that we allocate plenty of money in there. There's plenty of room, and it does not go away at the
expenditures as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Call for the vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Now we can go back to number 8. For discussion and deliberation, the time of agenda item, we're early, but I don't think you mind, Megan? Okay. Presentation from NV Energy and Greenlink Transmission, update on the project and status of incidences regarding NCSO. Okay. Ms. would you spell your last name up when you get up there, too? Thank you.
Yes, sir. My name is Shazad Lateef, S-H-A-H-Z-A-D, last name L-A-T-E-E-F. I'm employed by NV Energy. I've been there for over 30 years now. My key role is leading the transmission development and overall responsibility for developing Greenlink transmission project. This is our first time coming in front of this board and providing a little update on Greenlink as the construction is moving through and answer any of the members' questions. So Greenlink is a transmission project that is going to link southern Nevada to northern Nevada, and then from Yerington all the way to Ely on the eastern side. The intent of the project itself is to provide reliability and resiliency to the existing system in Nevada, as well as provide increased transmission capacity in the areas where it's needed. The Greenlink system will also have several substations. So if you think of the transmission system, it's more like a freeway. And there's going to be substations along the way, which are essentially on-ramps and off-ramps onto that freeway. So there's, as the lines move through or are built, there's no connecting to a line itself in the middle of nowhere. You actually have to use one of those substations. So when I refer to those substations, that's what I'm referring to, where others can actually connect to the system. Currently, in our system, there's only one high voltage transmission line that connects southern Nevada to northern Nevada, and that sits on the east side of our state. It's called One Nevada transmission line. If that line goes out, our state gets split into two, and electrical, and then we have to find ways to make sure that the electric needs are met. Over the last several years, as you know, Nevada's economy has been diversified. We are, in addition to entertainment and gaming, we are starting to see high tech moving into the state. Now there is even conversation of entertainment industries. So there is definitely this diversification brings a lot of new jobs into our state. Governor Lombardo also announced his plan of Nevada's energy independence. So currently, we do depend on, during the peak season, which is summer, we do depend on purchasing power from out of state. So what this Greenlink system will do, it'll enable us to fully utilize everything that we produce in the state of Nevada before we actually go out and look for resources outside the state of Nevada. I want to talk a little bit more because the construction of the project has started. So the local communities will start to see some impact, and we wanted to walk through that. I've talked about the economic benefits. I've talked about the environmental benefits. Greenlink is a transmission line. It does not generate any power. It has no carbon footprint. It is just a line. It is a mode of transportation for energy. So in itself, once the construction is done, all that you will really see is wire and poles. And even as we build those poles, those steel poles that are being installed, they are BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, asks us that the poles are coated with material that matches the background, so they are not shiny steel standing in the middle of our deserts. Greenlink system is divided into three. I'll focus mostly on Greenlink West because that's the part that we are building and that's the part that's going to run through the communities. Greenlink West will connect northwest Las Vegas all the way to Yerington, Nevada. And then there were several small lines from Yerington, Nevada that go into Reno, different parts of Reno population area. And then in 2027, we will start constructing Greenlink North, which is still under permitting from the Bureau of Land Management that will connect Yerington to Ely. And the existing line that I described, the one Nevada transmission line, exists from Ely to Las Vegas. So it will create that triangle, and that's where the resiliency comes from. That any one line of that triangle, you could take that line out and still have resources to move power from north to south or south to north. In this immediate area, you will see some permanent facilities and some temporary facilities. One is Sagebrush Substation. You will also probably see that as Amargosa Substation. The reason we changed the name is Amargosa Substation is already an existing substation in the Valley Electric System, so we don't want to confuse. But if you go out to 95 from 373 and go north towards Beatty, you will start seeing right across the big view, you will start seeing signs of, there's a temporary sign that says Sagebrush Substation. Right now, the construction over there is just the clearing of the area where the substation will be built. So if you look towards the west side, you will start seeing the construction ongoing. That's a permanent facility. It will, once it's fully constructed, it will have no people there. It will have no, it will have, on a permanent basis, only occasionally maintenance will show up. But substation does not have a lot of vacant. Other than some air conditioning and moving, that's the moving pieces. It does not generate any smoke, dust. There is no carbon footprint from that, so it is just a set of apparatus. There is an Amargosa material yard that is being constructed right on 373, along 373. That is a temporary facility that is built as the material is moved into the county. It is stored where it can be used. And these material yards were very strategically placed. We, as MD Energy, did not want to receive all the material in our headquarters, which are in Las Vegas, Clark County, or in Washoe, in the Reno area. Because if you take possession there, it becomes very difficult for us to allocate sales taxes to the county where these equipment are being used. So by receiving that equipment at Sagebrush Substation and at those material yards within the county, we're able to allocate that because that becomes the point of receipt of those materials. So anything that is being used in this construction, all the associated sales tax is associated with this county itself. The construction timeline and impacts. The work on the transmission line has already started. The first phase of is small trucks. There's a lot of surveying going on. A lot of plant surveys have to be done, plant salvage activities. You have to remove the plant and plant it in a different location. So those are have already started at the beginning of this year. Starting this week, we have right outside of Las Vegas, so it is moving from Las Vegas towards Yerington, the first segment of the line. And we have started pouring the foundations, so some of the concrete work has started as of today. At the peak, we will see about, the line will have about 200 to 400 Logistics plan is to have existing RV parks, use existing RV parks. There's no man camps, there's no folks who are going to be staying in the desert. They are either staying in hotels. We have reached out to local communities to lease the properties, either rent properties where people can stay, or some of the folks have been able to rent their land where a trailer can be parked. Same, we are using the RV parks, hotels, so all the existing facilities, that's what's being used. In some communities, the construction contractor has already reached out to expand or provide enough resources to expand the RV parks or facilities that currently exist, because these folks will be there for a period of about a year at minimum, and in substation case for up to 2 years through 2027. So that provides a full-time occupant for that RV park and gives them a resource to where they can use that to expand the existing facilities. There is no, the fuel plan is these, as we have any kind of equipment, all the fuel will be brought to that facility itself. The larger equipment uses the diesel fuel, and the diesel fuel will be delivered to the site because this equipment cannot be taken to the gas stations. The only fuel that they will use from the local gas stations is the regular gasoline, and that is very limited use because most of even the pickup trucks are all diesel, so which will be available on site. The construction contractor in the presentation, they have their address, so if there is any concern with towns, resources, fuel, supplies, groceries, anything, please bring that up, and we'll be more than happy to help manage that. It's got a list of all the RV parks, the Amargosa RV Park, Long Street RV Park, the Casino RV Park, Ponderosa Dairy, and then private landowners who have authorized spaces. The presentation does have 2 links. One is a link for, it has an email address for NV Energy, so if there's any questions, concerns that come up, it goes to NV Energy. We, as the owner of the project, are the lead on the project. We do have a construction contractor. You will see those trucks marked as T&D Power, T&D Power. They are a subsidiary of Mastec. Mastec has significant experience developing transmission line in the desert. In 2024, they completed a 120-mile transmission line, very similar transmission line in Arizona. So they are very familiar with working in the desert environment as well as managing the heat. That's the extent of my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Excuse me, just a couple. So the Green Link is owned by NV Energy. Will it be strictly limited to NV Energy Power, or can some of the new developers log into that?
Anybody can use that. So the way the transmission system is governed by the Federal Energy Regulation Commission.
Okay.
After we use, everybody has to make a reservation, but NV Energy has to make that available to anyone. So California ISO, Valley Electric, anyone who wants to use that is able to make a reservation. Since NV Energy is the sponsor of that, or constructor, first we make reservations for our customers, and the rest is available for anybody on the first come, first served basis.
Okay, so you literally have a queue right now that they're reserving space in, so the queue is probably full at this point.
The queue for Greenlink West is nearly full. I say that with a little bit of caveat because not all the projects move forward. So some of the projects, the way the projects work is they will come up with a conception of the project, then they will make a reservation. And when I say they mean the third party. Yeah. And then the third party can start looking for a potential buyer for their energy. If they find a buyer, then the project moves forward. If they're unable to find a buyer, then it falls apart and essentially stops.
Haven't some of those guidelines changed where they now have to, they already have, they're supposed to have their land already set, and they pay a pretty hefty reservation fee now, so is that tilted?
That is still the case, yes.
That is the case, yeah. Okay. of those. Carolyn and I may be having an appointment with him to discuss that. Story County has started a program because the rural counties are all losing out on half of their property tax base. And if you look at these data centers, they're supposed to be the hot ticket right now, not really so much for us, because those property taxes are paid to the tune of 75%. So these are all things that we work on constantly to see, to make sure we get what we can out of this, because the rurals are bearing the brunt of these deals, and it's important that we get our resources being used, and we don't feel like we're being, the first one, that we just do not feel like we're being compensated enough for it. So that it is a constant deal that we have to keep pushing every little deal. Our, again, those expenses, but the only support we get is at a county level, and right here at the state. None from the feds, none from the state. And if you were to look at, this is my personal opinion, but if you were to read Governor Lamardo's response after the latest, I think it's REIS, whatever came out from the BLM, that literally painted Southern Nevada green, that every square foot was supposed to be covered with solar. And fortunately, BLM, to their positive comments, have changed the policy, so now they can't out bulldoze the place. They have to deal with the little washes, rivers, and things like that. And Lamardo actually took offense at that and said Nevada couldn't meet their goal if they had to take all these things into account, because some of the local ones that we're dealing with are taking a 25 to 30% haircut because of that. And so it does help us somewhat to maintain that, but your vote counts. Think about that. The rural counties don't have much to say in Nevada. It's always been that way, it always will be, it's never going to change. But just be concerned about all those things when you start looking at it. Thank you.
Bobby? You have anything? You have anything? No, on green. Brenda? Yeah, I think it's important to know that, we've been working with this for a couple of years now, and we have to build the infrastructure. Thanks to Sheriff McGill, we've got 3 new deputies. And that's something we had talked about. Some of these the tax money and things like that, county's getting a large chunk as well. And so we're going to fight to get the infrastructure built from those taxes. So it's important, our 911 services, our fire department, our EMS, all of that, because we have a very limited opportunity here right now. And so when you start adding, 300 or 400 people on the line, and the mine coming in, and that's just Greenlink. That's not Grid Alliance. That's not solar companies. We're going to need all the infrastructure we can get, and people. So we've supported this all along, and so I stand by that. And I appreciate that you delivered on that night, bringing it to our county for the sales tax, because we worked really hard on that as well.
Definitely, and over the past couple of weeks, I have separately met with all 3 of the county commissioners, and we have assured them the exact same thing. That was their question as well, that the material, what is the point of change of possession, because you have to have a point of sale. That's where the state allocates it. So our vendors are responsible for bringing the material all the way to these material yards and substation, and that's where we show up as a point of sale. So there's no accounting change that has to happen at state level to make sure that the taxes go to the state.
I'm going to open it up for public comment. Does anybody have a comment? Pardon?
Can I talk from here?
Sure, go ahead.
Dave Hall.
You're big enough.
How big is that area for that substation?
I need to look at the estimate.
The site out there says 625 acres. Is that correct?
No, that is nowhere near correct. That will be, I think it's close to like 60 acres.
We thought it was 100, but there's a site up there that says
I will have to verify what that site is. It could be talking about the entire transmission right of way, but not the substation site. Yeah, substation site is 100 acres or lower. 100 acres would be a very large substation.
And who provides the station power? Does TEA get to provide that, or does you guys provide your own station?
There's no energy service in this area, so Valley Electric provides that. So wherever we build a substation, the station service comes from the local power provider.
And you said that was basically a point where people could bring more power than necessary, correct? So any place there's a solar facility, they're going to have their own substation to collect all that low voltage, turn it to high voltage, and bring it to you, which means another set of lines, correct?
Correct, and that will be completely separate studied by BLM.
But it would be another set of lines from wherever this stuff is to wherever you are.
Correct.
I'm just trying to get a landscape perspective of what we're going to look like.
So Valley Electric does have facilities very close to our Sagebrush substation. That could be a very, I am not aware of where Valley Electric's lines are, but that could be a very simple interconnection where existing lines are tied into Greenwood. So that's why when I say substation, it is the point where Valley Electric can connect. So can any solar service provider. If they build it further away, they are responsible for bringing power all the way to that substation.
Because, that substation's on the other side of the standards, and you've got all these developers that are going to be farther east, which means that they have to transport power into your substation. We're going to have line after line after line. Is that correct?
It all depends, and the reason I say it depends, multiple, it is not, if there are 4 or 5 developers, hypothetically, and they all have to cross US 95. BLM studies that. The Bureau of Land Management, who owns that land, studies that. They will restrict how many lines can cross the highway. So what they will have to do is consolidate on close to their property, have one line coming. We also have limited infrastructure inside the substation where they can connect. So if there is 10 different developers and each one wants to have their own line, we just don't have enough infrastructure to tie each one of those. So consolidation happens, and BLM has to study that kind of in its totality. I'm not aware of how many applications BLM has received on renewable energy, but I think the other point that I earlier made, the capacity on the line is fully reserved. So they can tie into it, but there is no transmission capacity on the line itself to transfer energy. Unless they already made those reservations.
The poles that are being put in now, we haven't seen one that's already put up. The down indicator, is that the same? It goes past where the fossils are and all that stuff. Is that the same size pole with better perspective?
I think for it's those are lower voltage, those are A-town. A better comparison would be poles if you go along US 93, if you're going up, and there's those triangular poles, kind of inverted triangle, they will be more like those poles. BLM also requires certain specifics on the type of poles that we use. In the desert, there's definitely species that are protected, desert tortoises, sage, grouse. So BLM requires in those areas, BLM requires a type of pole where predators cannot perch and attack those. So there are different type of poles that are used along the line. If it is going through a sensitive area, then we will use those H-frame structures. But yeah, it's not the same tall single monopole structures. In some places it may be used, but mostly it's that inverted triangle or H-frame.
The only thing I would suggest is, we should have been here 3 months ago before everything started coming in and work started being done. Because you were talking about, you started in Vegas. You started here, what, a month and a half, 2 months ago? And how do you want the line to run? Nobody's coming in, am I correct? I mean, I don't think another person's been in front of the group. They were here and asked for recommendations, but they never came and acted on it. So it would just be better, you know, I know the people up north from here have their hands full with lithium mining, and their fire department, along with our fire department, responding to each other. They need a heads up on all this stuff right now, where the cleanup yards are gonna be, what's gonna be there, they've already done that with some of our people. But you need to be doing that now, in my opinion, with everybody from here, through Dyer, or not Dyer, but Israel County, all the way up through there. Because those guys, they got their heads around so much stuff right now, that over the group this big, you know, like 350 people that live in Dyer, and maybe 1,000 people living all in Israel County. That's not a whole lot of people to try to support and take care of all the people coming in there and doing the stuff they do. Just my personal opinion.
Fully agree, and that's, last couple of weeks, I did meet also with commissioners from Esmeralda County as well as Lyon County. And we're going to try to get as much in front of it. It was probably in hindsight, it's 2020. I should have been here before because, again, the sagebrush disturbance has occurred. It's land clearing. Up to the point that where BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, releases, it is BLM's process. They can change the location of a substation, and they have. And as you're aware, the substation here was changed twice because of a beetle, a big dune beetle, that is also a species that needs to be protected. So when it was released to us, that's why we were getting it from. It's nowhere close to here being constructed, but as it comes here, we want to make sure that we get in front of it. I want to make another comment on the labor. These teams are coming from all over the country, but the entire project is built under IBEW. So they are contractors working with IBEW, both locals. So all of that revenue, they all have to register with our local IBEWs before, so their use also goes into our local economies.
And we're working with IBEW as well. So one of the things that in the preliminary, all of the meetings were held basically in Beatty. So I had to go to Beatty, and it wasn't, delivered to the town of Amargosa. So, and everything's changed so much since the beginning. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions? Jimmy?
I understand that you have a really good description of your energy highway. The Nevada Power itself is not going to generate any power, is that correct?
Right now, the plan is Nevada Power is already generating a lot of that energy that we use. The restriction is moving the power from northern Nevada to southern Nevada, or southern Nevada to northern Nevada.
So Nevada Power is going to generate some power?
Correct.
Okay. And tell me what are the long-term benefits for Amargosa Valley or our residents? So far, the only thing I've seen is a 100-acre scar beside the dunes, and some scarring down here by the travel center at 373 and 95. And in my view, I live just over the hill from your substation, and my view of the mountain range in Beatty are totally dim because of all the dust that's gone up. You take all the vegetation off the desert, and you're left with nothing but dust. And I guarantee you cannot get enough water on that property to abate the dust. No matter who, never do work. I never do that. So, what are our benefits?
So your direct electrical benefits.
I'm not getting any because the energy is going from wherever the source of the generation is. It's going into your pipeline and going somewhere else, north, south, probably California and other places. It's not coming to me.
Amargosa, the town energy actually comes from Valley Electric, so yes, you're right. The Greenlink is not tied to Valley Electric system. I think the benefits, what we described, the economic benefits for construction, during the construction, those are the key benefits at this time. But this is the infrastructure essentially needed for the state itself.
Right. I could care less if Las Vegas or Reno has any power. They can go black or dark.
infrastructure is to create a Nevada that is independent of all the other states.
You know, Dane had one hell of a good point there. We have a small fire department, what do we got, 13, 14 volunteers, Jessica? 15 volunteers, and this is a big area to cover. There's a lot of people in this valley, the homes and everything else. And you throw in the substation, where you've got thousands of volts of electricity going through and everything else, you have a fire, you blow up the transformer down there. Our people have limited training on fighting that kind of fire, let alone the fumes and everything else, the carcinoma fumes and everything else that come off those transformers. They have limited experience with that. What is Nevada Power, Green Alliance, or whatever these people are doing for our fire department to make sure that they have not only the training to do it, but the equipment to fight fires and emergencies in places like that.
I agree with that point, and I will take that as a responsibility. We will provide training to the local fire department at our cost.
We have worked with that as well. Training, the pool from everybody involved, not just transmission lines, but solar companies, what's going to be needed, anything that's going to be needed, that's all been addressed, and it's ongoing. So
there's probably something that's a little near to my heart. I served in the Navy 15 years at sea duty, and fires on board ship, and you don't have a fire department to call it, you have to fight it yourself. You know, and fighting fires is a very, very important thing, especially electrical fires, because there are so many special things you have to do for that.
And there are different types of fires than what we're used to.
Yeah.
So that's been addressed, and so when we get to that point.
According to what Mike has said and what I see in the newspaper and everything else, our dearly beloved governor does not care one damn bit about what happens to the people in Amargosa Valley or Beatty or Yarrington or any place else where this stuff is going in. All he wants is to get the power out. This should make him look good. So, you know, is it going to be just talk that we're doing this, or is there going to be some actual action taken to do it and make our fire department better?
So I want to make a comment on that. We will take a commitment to helping the fire department. I think that is part of our responsibility. NV Energy is not a service provider for Amargosa Valley, but we are still a partner. This is still our state. This is still our community. We are one of the sponsors for Amargosa Days. So it's a partnership we definitely enjoy and value, and we will continue to support that through any means possible, even if it's not electrical.
Well, one of the things that not just Nevada Power, but all of the subcontractors that are going to come in and use your highway, that are going to get on it and use it, is one of the things that we really need here. Not only the firefighting, but we really need an ambulance service. Because we don't have an ambulance service. The nearest ambulance service is in Beatty or Pahrump. An ambulance service here that is operational and up to snuff would be of great benefit, not only to this community, but would also be of great benefit to anybody that gets in here on that highway. You know?
I sure hope that this provides some economic benefit to the communities, and however you want to spend that any funding that comes from the county towards you. We are doing all we can to make sure that the tax allocation goes in the proper places and it's allocated to the communities that serve. We do care about what this town and other rural towns have told us before.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. However, I have as much confidence in the BOCC as I have in Governor Lamar.
I thank you for your service.
Anybody else?
Hi, it's Tim Bohannon, BOHANNON. I got one over an hour.
I know. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that.
I felt this was very important, and we don't hear enough of this. And I commend you for coming and speaking points about it. As I understand it, you're looking at a
needs for a data center are. Whether it is the being here, having a safer substation definitely facilitates that. Valley Electric may already have enough resources to support a data center. I'm not aware of what it all takes to get a data center. But having a safer substation, like I mentioned, Valley Electric has the ability to connect and improve their reliability. So it improves the overall state's infrastructure.
Which is very important. I didn't hear anything about North Elko or Green that's already in place.
That construction starts, that's from Harrington into Ely area. That is still under BLM permitting. If BLM issues the permit as scheduled, the construction will start in January of 2027 with the end date of December 2028.
Tim, I'll get you one of these.
Okay, just a quick update on the data centers that gentleman mentioned. There has been some limited contact with Valley Electric about those coming in here. They do like to go to rural areas because the permitting process and stuff is easier. But if you noticed, Reno put a stop on it. Reno's got a ton of them up there, and Reno stopped them. Future ones kind of just put a hold on them at that point. And that is something that at Valley Electric we will look very hard at whether it provides a benefit or not. They take a tremendous amount of power, provide very few jobs, and like I just said, 75% of the property taxes go away. And if BEA was to make a commitment to run, and we're talking lots of megawatts of power to run those things, if Valley Electric Company became dependent on producing that load, and then all of a sudden they say, whoops, we don't like it here, see ya, and they go away, and there we are. So the way Valley Electric has to purchase property or purchase power on the market. And if we were to make that commitment, then this thing has no obligation and just goes away. So it is not on the surface, it's not a huge asset. Limited jobs, limited property taxes, it takes a lot of assets. So it is something we are just not going to, allow to come into our community. One, Valley Electric probably might not want to support it, and two, we probably wouldn't when we get to looking at it. So that's just an update on those issues.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Can I make one more comment?
Yes.
I wanted to make sure that I introduce the team that I have with me. I have Lynn from our corporate communications. So you mentioned this the first time we're out here. And we also have Amber Stringer, which is who's manager of our corporate security. So security of your local residents as well as the team that are working here is very important to us. So we wanted to make sure that those contacts are there and also in this for sure if there's anything that comes up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, who wanted to do the update on the project and status of the incidences regarding NCSO? Is that part of it? Have we talked about that? Have you had incidences?
We understand that there's been some instances
Incidences with water trucks and
and armed confrontation.
Sheriff.
Literally.
I'm going to ask you for the update.
Well, I'm not sure that I can answer all that because I was relying on the contractor to present what the problems were or have been.
I can speak to some of the incidents that I've heard, so, and which sort of spurred us to think it should be.
Why don't you come up to the podium if you don't mind? Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
So my name is Amber Stringer. I'm the security operations manager
Speak up, please.
for MB Energy. So the incidents that you guys are speaking about, one of And then the second incident, we had some environmental workers that were in the area. They were not aware that apparently they were near a local community shooting range, and they were downrange from someone shooting, and some bullets flew over their heads. So that was why we did open up communication with Sheriff McGill to make sure that we have open communication, that we have each other's contact information, and then that's why we came out to make sure that the community is educated about who is going to be coming, what to expect, and the project that's occurring. So the email addresses that are in the presentations that can be shared with anybody, we wanted to present those and make sure that the community is aware that if there are any concerns or issues, we're open to hearing them. Please let us know if there's things like our contractor speeding, things of that nature. We want to make sure that the communities are served and have the ability to communicate with us so that nobody has to take things into their own hands.
I had a meeting with the federal government on Valley View, and they do speed. They do. I mean, it's like we all have to stop and kind of hunker down. But I think communication is critical, especially what about the shooting range and the bullets flying over the head. And this is the Wild West, right, Sheriff? I mean,
It's basically, it's an open shooting.
yeah. And it was pretty much everybody carries a gun, so,
Yeah,
and they're nosy.
And like Shazad mentioned, these contractors are coming in from across the country, from all different parts of the country, in different rural communities and major metropolitan areas. So that's why we wanted to have these lines of communication and make sure that everybody knows what's going on, and that there's a place to sort of vent those frustrations. And then we are taking the opportunity to make sure that our contractors are paying attention to what's going on. So when they were speeding, that was what was relayed to me by Sheriff McGill, and I made sure that our VP and our directors were communicating that with our contractors, and they have been told to make sure that they're abiding by all traffic laws.
And you're not the only ones with water trucks. It's probably upwards of 75 to 100 a day.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
That's a lot, yeah. But we want to make sure that we are open to communication and available if there's any concerns or questions from the community.
And you're going to do the same thing in Beatty for them too, correct?
Yeah, we'll make sure that we are communicating across the state. That's good to know. Good to know.
Well, on the back. Okay.
Are there any other questions for me?
No, I don't. Anybody else?
Yeah, just across the board, just asking us to slow down, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll make sure that we relay that information again. So,
Thank you very much. All right. We're up to general public comment. Up to a 3-minute time limit per person. Action will not be taken on matters considered during this period until specifically included on an agenda as an action item. I'm going to open this up for public comment. Anybody? Okay, please state and spell your last name. All of it.
You're going to make me do it again?
You're precious.
Jessica Catermas, Kadermas Walthou. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I forgot some stuff on my fire department report. I'm so sorry. I forgot to talk about Amargosa Days, guys. We are going to be at the booth. We're going to be actually next to the admin booth where everybody's selling raffle tickets and stuff for the event. We're going to be right there. I'm going to be selling support t-shirts to help raise money for our association, which is our firefighters relief fund. It also is victim relief and that kind of thing. We sometimes use it to help purchase equipment. We use it to help victims of fires out here, that kind of stuff. So we'll be doing that. And then also Saturday afternoon, go on over to the basketball court and watch us shoot water cannons off. We're going to be playing some firefighter games. So come on over. We're going to be helping out with the mud bog. You might see our Command 42 in the mud bog, maybe. You might see some firefighters having some fun. So come on out and say hi. Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to close public comment. Board member comments. We'll start with you, Bobby.
I just wanted to bring it up that in the mornings on Farm Road, close to Tamarack, where the water trucks are filling up, they're dumping water pretty much directly on the road, trying to water the side of the road, which obviously with blacktop roads, it gets under the blacktop and damages the road severely. And it just seems like if they're trying to water the side of the road, they should probably find different ways
enjoy Amargosa Days. Thank you, Sheriff, for the 3 officers out here. We need the assistant structure. And as I was looking at this, I was gonna say something on this. We're looking at 200 to 400 people out here. And you're talking about with the deputies, as it is, just with the locals as it is. These are totally new people that really don't know Amargosa at all. So, you know. But anyway, enjoy Amargosa Days. It's a beautiful time of year. Thank you.
Okay, pretty much, I just want everybody to come to Amargosa Days, enjoy, and just to reiterate, there is no charge except for what the vendors are gonna charge you. And I wanna thank the people that have sponsored and the energy, all of you, you know. And, I would like to see more volunteers next year. Okay. Let's move on to possible action, set a date and time for the final budget hearing, 2025-26 budget at 6 p.m. on May 22nd. And then to follow at 6:30 is the board meeting on May 22nd. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we set the final budget hearing for May 22nd at 6 p.m. and then followed by the town board meeting at 6:30.
And I'll second that. Call the vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.